Hello, good afternoon. It is Everton Daily Live. It's Friday the 12th of June. 2 minutes past 1. Me and John in the studio. I was going to say it's a lovely day. It isn't a lovely day outside. It should be. It's the summer. It should be lovely. It isn't. It's like the middle of winter. Hey ho. Hey ho. Dele is back in the news today. Looks as though Everton are going to give him an opportunity to earn a new contract. It looks like Everton are speaking to Spurs.
That's good.
With regards to, obviously, the current is the deal that was done when he came to Everton. The mad thing with this is he could move anywhere else for nothing, and there's not anything Spurs could do about it, which I just find absolutely bizarre that they've got any hold over him in re-signing for us when the lad has been injured.
I don't think it's bizarre.
Well, that's fine, but I do. I think it's absolutely shocking. I think Everton
it's
have
brutal,
paid
competitive behaviour.
I find it absolutely bad.
Imagine if he'd been absolutely awesome, but hadn't played enough games to trigger the 10 million quid, and then
It was 20 games in 2.5 years.
Yeah, but whatever. But no. But it's only the last 6 months that matter, isn't it?
He hasn't played football. He hasn't played a competitive game football for 14 months, and they still want what?
No, that's what the contract says.
No, we're not.
We've just done a business with blame. We're talking about contracts can always be renegotiated.
Yeah.
So now it's just how smart we are at talking to Spurs to say, guys, guess what? You ain't getting the money.
Just do what a lot of foreign clubs have done. MK Dons sign him. Everton pay 500 grand to MK Dons.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That signed Dele back.
Exactly. Whatever happens, you're not getting the money that you're expecting. So we can do some creative, and it's not that creative, is it? Things to secure his services for us. And so grow up.
My thing as well, and a lot
the moral thing is we get him for nothing.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, that's
and he gets a pay-as-you-play contract.
They're not legal, I don't think, in the Premier League anymore, but low basic with high bonuses. But the thing for me...
That's what I meant. I don't mean 0
The thing for
hours.
me... 0 hours, Dele. Don't come in this week. The big thing for me is the fact that we've took them off their wage bill.
Yeah.
And for 2.5 years, we've paid them. Now, okay, there was some relief on that when he was at Besiktas for a bit. But Everton have took him off their hands, paid them all that time. Relieved them from having to do it.
Their PSR is probably 10 to 15 million pounds better off.
And they've still got a hand out,
How close was the end of contract when he joined us?
I don't know. No idea.
Because they have
he had a couple of years left.
They've had 10 million benefits probably, and the rest already.
And then just from a human perspective, and what he's been through.
What does Dele want to do? That's what matters.
But let's assume that Everton and Spurs come to an agreement, and it's a minimal fee and blah 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 blah. People shouldn't lose their mind over it, and some are, because he's not being fit. Because the only way, in my opinion, he gets a new contract is he proves to this manager that he's fit enough physically, and he impresses in training now.
This last week, that's been happening, hasn't it?
You've got Gaffer's Day. Can he get through that?
Yeah.
Can he stay fit? If the manager goes, you know what, I can use him.
The talent is in there.
I've said before, if you got Dele to listen, he might be. I don't know his body, right? And football does move on very quickly.
It does.
He might never get anywhere near what he was. I don't know, right? But that's not my decision. There's a manager and a coaching staff and director of football and physiotherapists and that'll make that decision. But if Everton did get 60% Dele when he was at Spurs,
he's in
the good bit, then he walks into Everton's team, even at 60%. If the manager feels like there's a year there contract for him with ongoing options, and the lad wants it and he proves it, then we all get behind him, because the manager will have made the decision. There's a different thing where Sean Dyche turns up, you've got this player called Dele. He's got 4 years left on a contract that somebody else give him.
And you don't fancy him.
He's on 100 grand a week. He's not motivated, blah, blah, blah. And people are going, Sean Dyche will have a look and he might give him a chance. People are going, he's just sat on it. He sat on his arse for 2 years. He's not interested. Get rid of him. This is slightly different. The lad is out of contract. He's had a terrible time with injuries. Sean Dyche seems to like him. with the conversations he's had with them. He's referenced them a few times in press conferences.
Smart guy, isn't he?
So, I just look and go, you know what? Whatever. If he gets a new contract, he's earned it. Because Sean Dyche, and the way Everton are right now, Everton aren't handing contracts out feeling sorry for people.
No.
So, if he gets a contract, we all should go, fair play. He must have impressed. He's got something to offer. Brilliant. If he doesn't, he moves on. We get him fit, which is our obligation to do his rehab. Now, obviously, he's come through the rehab and he's ready to train because all the stories are out now that he's trying to earn this new contract. They don't surface if you're still injured.
That's right.
So, good luck to the lad. I say, I hope he smashes it pre-season. I hope Everton come to an arrangement with Tottenham. I hope he gets a new contract, and I hope he becomes an effective player for Everton. If it's all the other way, and he doesn't, fair play. Good luck with whatever else he does.
And if he goes to Ipswich and does a Barkley,
exactly,
don't whinge.
So I'm quite calm with it, and I think I'd never speak for everybody, and I won't tell you how you should feel. But my kind of comfort with it, and I know that things are trying to change at Finch Farm. I know the football club is trying to change. My thing with it is, if he does get to that stage where they feel like he's worth another contract, he must have done something right.
Yeah.
Mustn't he?
I think whatever financial guarantee Dele gets, if he got one. So two things play into this. One is he has to have convinced the manager, which is important.
Yeah.
And then obviously the finances have to work for the club, which shouldn't be the manager. So if he ends up with some form of agreement, then both the finances are okay. No matter what rumours say, we're all right with them. And the manager thinks it's worth, in playing terms, the risk. And presumably, both those would be substantially lower risk than picking up some very, very fast winger from some minor league somewhere, where we'll all happily say, yeah, 5 million quid, that's nothing in this day and age. Yeah. So we have to put it in that context as well. If he gets over that not insurmountable hurdle of proving to the manager he's done the work to be physically fit, right? And therefore, and his attitude looks good, it's actually worth the risk, isn't it? Subject to the finances.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? Because he's not being fit. Then that's the problem. That isn't really a stick to beat him. We haven't seen anything other than he come on
and made a difference.
He made a huge difference against Crystal Palace when we stayed up. He turned the game. And he also, which a lot of people forget, he was pivotal in Richarlison equalising against Leicester at home. When we scored late on. He won the ball and crossed the ball, and Richie put it in. So he did affect the end of the season, but he was only on a couple of times, and it was what it was. Sometimes Lampard put him on with like
seconds to go,
and you're like, what's the point? And he hasn't done anything in an Everton shirt, and he hasn't done anything to warrant.
But a squad player who did that 10 or 15 times a season made a difference. You'd say that's worth it.
I just look at it and go, Sean Dyche will make the decision, and he'll make it based on fitness. If the lad's fit and contribute, he might get a deal.
And that's the key.
And if he gets one, sound. If he doesn't, sound. That's where.
Because it's a very easy decision if he ends up being number 20 of 20 players in fitness terms when they do the Gaffer's Day.
Of course they will.
Sorry.
They'll just go, you're not up to what we
Great
need.
words, but you can't do it. You can't do it.
So I think maybe that's what we have to... People, and I listen, most Evertonians probably will just go, we'll leave it up to the manager.
Yeah.
You trust them or you don't trust them. A lot of Evertonians trust Sean Dyche, so you'd have to trust them on this decision if he thinks it's worth it with Dele.
28.
Yeah.
Not long 28. No. So...
And he's not played a lot of footy.
There are a number of years left in him if he's still got the commitment and the physical capability, isn't there?
Yeah. And all of them have to be proved, otherwise he moves on, doesn't he? And that's footy, isn't it? So we'll see.
And there'll be clubs out there, I would imagine, who think, if he is physically fit, there's always a manager, when there's a talent, there's always a manager who thinks I can get it out.
Of course.
And if he's physically fit, he'll have choices anyway. So let's make sure we decide whether he comes here or not. Yeah. Cool.
Northern Motorvlog says, get Roma to sign him and then loan him to us for a year. Why not? stranger things about him.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be a huge PSR issue here. Yeah.
No. Not with some of the stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah,
Chelsea doing all sorts.
Yes.
But yeah, let's see what happens. Daniel, who's a Tottenham fan, says big up from a Tottenham fan. Hopefully they can get a solution to the Dele situation.
Yeah.
But no, Daniel, Tottenham are still running a business. I fully get it, but Everton have had zero value from this deal that took him off Tottenham's books and therefore massively improved Tottenham's PSR because they weren't paying a player. And I think you have to look at it from what I would say is if he went anywhere else, Tottenham haven't got a leg. Tottenham can't say where. He can go anywhere. He can literally join 18 other Premier League clubs, bar Spurs and Everton. In fact, he could go back to Spurs, couldn't he? For nothing. And Tottenham wouldn't do anything about it. They went to 18 other Premier League clubs for nothing. And the club who have paid his wages for 2.5 years and give Tottenham that PSR relief, they're the one that you want to punish for, even though we've had nothing out of him. I'd get it if he come back and got 3 hat-tricks in the last 5 games. You'd go, well, he's fit and he's banging them in. He hasn't played a game of footy for 15 months. I think you'd have to look at it if you're Daniel Levy and go, I know I'm a massive knob because he is. He's very, very good at what he does, but he's not a very nice person. But this lad, we've had a good return out of him, which Spurs did. And Everton have basically paid X amount, whatever it is, maybe £10 million over 2 years for him already.
I mean,
and that's the end of it.
Where's it coming out that we're going to speak to Tottenham?
So the Echo have got it. The Athletic have got it.
Because
it's in about 8.
Oh, that's fair dues. So there's some briefing going on there. We did the business. We're playing stuff and various times we played the game of where Carlisle or where Everton or,
of course,
or where Man United, whatever. If there's a conversation to be had with Tottenham, which may be a difficult one, may not, around any payments that may or may not be due. If it was my call, say I'm the commercial director of Everton, and the manager or whoever it is, or Thelwell it would be, Kev, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure.
Right, we need to confront Spurs about Dele because the manager's reasonably happy, whatever. Then as the commercial guy, I'll say, tell me when you're happy to have him, i.e., he's ticked all your boxes, and when the last thing that needs to be addressed is Spurs, I'll deal with it. Right? So
that might be now.
That's what I mean. So the briefing, if it is briefing, that's gone on by agents or whoever it is, that Everton are going to, in quotes, confront Tottenham about this. That means we're happy. Because if Spurs come along and say, yeah, you can sign him if you want, we don't mind. We can't then not sign him. So we must have in a decision process, we've already concluded, subject to getting through Gaffer's Day or whatever it is. Then he showed all it, he's turned up early, he's done this, he's done that, he's done the other, he's physically fit, the physios are all happy, whatever. We've had the informal chats about the type of deal we would give him, be it a small base and pays you play, all that sort of stuff. Last thing to sort out, Tottenham. And if we're at that bit now, that's very promising, isn't it?
Yeah, I must listen. Well,
and then if other clubs, whether it's a Turkish club or whatever, are thinking, and if Tottenham play hardball, we'll have him. Yeah. And I'd just like to think that the player, his default would be wants to stay with us because we've been so good to him.
Well, I think that's where it is. Otherwise, he'd just go somewhere else, wouldn't he? He'll have off. Someone will take, like you just said before, someone will take a gamble on him because they'll just go on. Andros Townsend went to...
And the Premier League.
Andros Townsend went to Luton last year on trial.
Yeah.
He was injured at Everton.
Yeah.
Everton
was still helping him at the time. Yeah.
He rehabbed him. He went to Luton. He went to Burnley first. And was not there. Then he went to Luton on a short-term deal. Played the whole season. Done really well. Right. I think he's playing again. Ross Barkley, slightly different, wasn't injured, but he was out of contract, went to Luton. And he's just got to move to Champions League club for this season. So it happens, but
solution for him.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
That was our director of the
he's
day.
been on. Callum's been on. People know Callum now. He's there. He's there.
You're the man. Yeah.
Betto. There's a story today about Betto. Fenerbahce and Josie want to take him on loan. That's what's coming out of Turkey. Everton. I think the story says that Everton, if they're going to let him go, want to sell him. If he's to go, They're not going to just loan him out, because why would you? When you've paid £25 million for him. So, what do you think? I mean, what would you do with Betto for this season?
Well, we need numbers, and he's one of them at the moment. So the natural assumption is the only way we'll let him go is A, we get an offer that exceeds his value, in our view, hence the sale part of it, or we know who we'll bring in instead, and we'd want it to be PSR positive. So that means, Fenerbahce, if that's who it is, you have to pay minimally as amortisation, as the loan fee, and perhaps a chunk of his wages as well. Otherwise, he stays here, and we'd use him, wouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd use him.
But if that meant the manager was being told, you can't have the centre-forward type that you want because we've got this guy, and that's when you perhaps erode some of what I've just said. But your starting position would be, it has to be PSR positive. So
it's got to be. I don't see... I personally think Betto will be better this year with the pre-season behind him and all that.
I tend to agree, yeah.
But if Everton have decided, Sean Dyche's decided that he's not for him, then the only way he can sort of leave the club, in my opinion, is by selling him, and selling him for a fee. That basically means Everton aren't out of pocket for whatever that is. So,
because we may have not started amortising him yet.
The first payment's due this summer, I think.
No, amortisation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we'll have to wait and see. With
the cash flow might not start, say, till post-July. Sorry, post-June.
Yeah.
But the amortisation may have started last year, so we might get a PSR upside simply if we sell him for, if he was on a 5-year deal at 25 million quid, then we're 5 million in credit because we've done it already. And then if we sold it for 20, we'd break even. But we'd have a big uplift in this PSR year because of the income.
So that might be...
the 5 million would reappear in this year as upside. So there's sums to be done.
Yeah.
But it's a position of strength, isn't it? If your default is we're happy to keep him. Having said that, one of the you talk about is pre-season and stuff and getting even Premier League fit, never mind Dyche fit, is we've got to play to his strengths as well, and we don't.
Yeah. But we could, if Everton were to let him go, excuse me, we'd need 2 strikers because Dom ain't staying.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
I don't think Mopey'd stay either.
Do?
Mopey?
No, Mopey.
No, he's
got
gone.
No chance.
He's gone.
So therefore...
He needs to find a home.
Very quickly, yeah. So you're talking 2 strikers.
That's right.
Off.
Yeah.
Big ass to get 2.
It is.
2 that don't...
You might not want the disruption of 2 newbies and Shamisi.
You could get 25 million for Betto and Mopey, potentially.
Possibly,
yeah.
15 for Betto and about 10 for
Nah, you wouldn't get 10 for my bloody hell, mate. So if you can get 10 for Mopey, I'm giving you a job at Everton, selling our players. Bloody hell, you're lucky to get 3 million for Mopey.
But if to use your example though, if we sold Betto for 15, even if we've already started to amortise him, that's PSR negative for us.
Still losing money then.
So we're losing out.
Yeah, because you spent about 30 on Betto.
25.
Yeah.
You can't lose though. So, and obviously the Calvert-Lewin stuff, a lot of stuff out there that he wants to go. He's told Evan he doesn't want to stay.
It's funny that, because that came out earlier in the week, didn't it? A story.
To be fair, it's not new.
No, well, that's what I mean. It created a little bit of fume because, cheeky so-and-so and all that type of reaction to it. But I understood he told the club ages ago. Presumably when he said no thank you to a contract offer.
No, well, that's it. But
either directly or indirectly.
I think that's just reiterating the fact he isn't staying. I think it was the other day.
And it's a classic, it'll go right to the end of the window, isn't it?
Yeah.
And all we can hope, if we assume he's going, is we have our replacement lined up and he bangs in a good few goals in the first weeks of the season.
Oh, well, I wouldn't play him. See, if I was the manager, he'd be with the kids.
I'd play him on the basis that if he scores goals, it increases his value. He
doesn't score goals, though, does he? That's the fact, isn't it? If we're playing facts.
So let's play the game because we're doing this is negotiation again, isn't it?
Yeah,
right. Cool. I would be telling Dom, if you haven't signed a new contract by this date, it's clear you're going. Or just ask him the question: you want to go, don't you? Yes, I do. Okay, fair enough. You need to know you'll go through pre-season, but we won't play you unless there's injuries.
Yeah.
So you have to expect you're not going to play in August, right? Because we're not having you taking up a slot for someone who's going to be here for the next 3 to 5 years, not getting a game.
Yeah.
And therefore that accelerates his decision making, you would hope. But the flip side of that, as I've just argued, if you start and you play him and he scores goals, right, then you increase his value. If you don't play him at all, you perhaps almost invite low bids because you say, well, you've already written him off. If he's still here on September the 1st, he's not match fit, is he? So then you cut your nose off to spite your face.
But there's a massive issue.
Well, that's the complexity of how you do it.
The massive issue with playing him is you start building a team towards him, and we can't.
No, I understand.
We need to move on.
No, I understand.
And that's why, for me...
But that's why it's complex.
I'd just be very straight with him and just say, you're in the 18s, mate. You're not even with the 21s.
Yeah, I wouldn't...
So, see you later.
He wouldn't be with the first team training.
Not a chance.
That's what I mean. As soon as you say you're not playing, you're not training with the first team either. Yeah. So you just...
Because we have to move... This is Everton's issue, and it's difficult. It's difficult because...
It's just straight talking, that's all.
I think... I'm saying it's difficult because we're in a position where we're not a club that people want to walk and play for. You know, some people would want to come, of course, but what I mean is no one's going, I hope Everton coming for me right now. So therefore, we have got to be careful. We're also in a position where our spine could all leave. Branthwaite, Onana will go,
sure,
and Dom will go, in my opinion. So the three lads,
leaving only the goalie,
who played right through, and Jordan will be fine.
That's what I mean, leaving only the goalie.
So you've got Everton. When you're planning for the season, we could do that. We could play Dom and go, might get 2 goals.
How much do you think we pay him?
How much do we now?
Yeah.
About $100,000 a week.
About $100,000 a week. And
he wants 160.
And he wants 160. So he wants a £3 million a year pay rise. And if you give him his pay rise and he stays for 3 years, he's cost you £9 million extra to what you're already paying. And there's no way on this planet you're going to get anybody anywhere near him for anywhere near that amount of money.
For 9.
Yeah.
But if I sell him for 25, that's 34 million. I can pick you 15 up in Europe.
Magic word, if.
Under that.
No, I get it. But magic word, if, right?
Well, we will sell him because he's not going to stay.
Bear with me.
Yeah, go on then.
So, if, right? So is it's rhetorical because none of us can know.
No, of course we don't.
Is the only reason he's not signing is because he thinks he's worth more money or because he thinks he can play for a better team? Which one? It's one or two. Clearly, it's always a bit of both. But if you had to conclude, because we're doing this like we're in the coaching room or whatever, deciding on our plan. Do we think it is money or better team? It's one or the other. Pick one of those two. I know it's a bit of both, but you have to pick one of them.
If it maybe better team,
right?
I'm not even sure it's better team. I think he just wants to change.
Okay, well, same difference.
But
leaving. Yeah. Therefore, offering him no money.
He's not going to Ipswich.
No. But offering him more money isn't really the issue.
No.
Okay, so then he wants to change, but doesn't want to change big enough to go to Newcastle, does he?
Well, they didn't offer him what he wanted. So.
There you go. So when it comes to, yes, you can go to Newcastle on the same money as Everton, that would give him his change, allegedly a better team at the moment, and he said no because he wants the money. So maybe it is more money. So you test the money thing, don't you? Now, if you've got a strict approach to how much you're prepared to pay players, and this is the old Wenger thing, isn't it, back in the day, you don't breach it for any reason, right? You say, that's it. We don't pay a player above a certain amount at a certain age. We don't give them contracts of a certain length, at a certain whatever. And if he falls into that, you say, sorry, computer says no. Yeah. Then that's fine. And then we live with the consequences. And the ultimate consequence is he walks away for nothing.
You see, I've heard this before.
But it is a potential consequence, isn't it?
Yeah, if he doesn't care about his career, he'll stay for another season and then go for nothing.
Or goes in January.
Or goes in January when he's closer to 28.
Yeah.
So that he's being very short-sighted. He's trying to walk out for nothing, which I just don't see.
Here and now?
No, if he says,
I'll run my contract down.
I'll stay for another season.
Yeah. That's what I'd say.
Massively, in my opinion, he's basically saying he's not asked about his career if he stays there.
No, but this is what you do.
Without a contract, because in a year's time, he's a year older, 28 and a half. No, who's taking him at 28 and a half?
Well, if we're playing, because this is great fun, we should do this live sometime, not now.
Well, it's live, go on.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean. When we do the BWB type thing, right, we just played Carlisle and all that before. Yeah. You're the club, right, trying to negotiate with me and his agent. Dominic doesn't have to be prepared to sit on his hands until next July. I just have to convince you that he will.
That he would, yeah.
And you're walking away from X millions of pounds in transfer, right? So I have to convince you, you know what? He will sit on his hands. And you'll say, no chance. His career's over if he does that. Yeah, but take the risk. Okay, you drop 25 million quid then. You drop 25 million quid. And you play back to me, hey, he's going in the 18s. We'll satisfy our contractual obligations of allowing him to keep fit and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But he'll be like the guy no one talks to, if you want to look at it that way. And if we did that, guarantee he goes in January. But he's still, as you say, suffered the 5 months. So you have the grown-up conversation, a bit like the one you're going to have with Daniel Levy. This is how we are going to play it as a club. We're not happy. Okay? Appreciate your player wants to do the best he can for himself, so go find himself somewhere to go then. But we want paying. Yeah. And if he's still here on September the 1st, he can come in and train, but he is not part of our first-team squad. Now, I'm the agent of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm looking at Everton going, you're not going to do that. But we as a club don't have to do that. We just have to convince the agents and convince him that that's what we will do. And that's part of the art of negotiation. It's like, the poker analogy was, I don't have to have a good hand. I just have to convince you I've got one. Of course, right? Yeah. And the same applies here. And I've negotiated for a living. I'm telling you, if you do this really well, if you're Everton, he will back down, right? Now, back down means he'll be a bit more thinking, maybe if I settle for 120 instead of the 150 I want, I'll have more clubs to choose from, or whatever. But the reality is, those numbers are big numbers. An erosion. If we've done the scenario that says if he goes on the last day of August and we could get 20 million for him, for example, what would it be on the last day of January? Well, it wouldn't be 20 million, would it? But it might be. Because he's played okay. Oh no, we've chosen not to play him. So he's got to be worth less when he hasn't played for 4 or 5 months. So we say, okay, we'll get 10 million most for him at the end of January. That means anything more than 10 million in August, less his wages, because we won't be paying him, must be a deal worth having. And that's the game of negotiation. We want this, but this is what we're prepared to accept. And what we don't know right now, and never would, is what are we prepared to accept. But what I used to do when I was doing this for a living, in this example, if I was Everton, I would say to the agent, the rock bottom we will accept is this. Go find somewhere for him to go and make him more palatable. And I don't know, I could ask you now, what was the minimum you would accept to get him out the door during August, assuming you have somebody who you can bring in, planned, who will cost you less?
20.
There you go. So you set the number at 20. Anyone watching this can have their number,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
And and I might, just for fun, not less than 15. Which is, to me, if you were advertising in quotes, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is available for 15 million quid, there'd be a queue round the.
This all goes away if he wants to stay, by the way.
Of course it does.
I'd rather him stay.
Well, that's why I asked.
That's my thing, but what I'm saying is
why I asked.
When you're trying to build a team and you're planning for the season and you're trying to improve, because don't forget, Sean Dyche has got to get more than 48 points this season.
Oh, absolutely.
To have an improvement on what
absolutely.
he did.
And I'm sure he's planning
to do better. And that's what he'll be aiming for.
Yeah.
And he's trying to plan with the best will in the world. Going, like, we've got this and we've got that. And he keeps looking at the team going, like, it's our best 11. I know it's not necessarily best 11s, but that's how you start. And you look and go, right, best 11 is Pickford and then your 2 centre-backs. We don't know if he's going to be here.
Sure.
That's okay. We want him to be, and I think he's the one we're going to war on. As in, he's the one we don't want to lose. So he carries on, and then they go, Onana in midfield. And go,
manager doesn't like him anyway.
But he's the best that we've got in that role.
But he's also
he
very
might not
saleable.
Gonna be here. So he's going to go, and then it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin through the middle. So you're left with Betto or Chimiti.
Yep.
So you're going.
Plus whoever else you bring in.
But right now, you don't. That's
right.
Dom's not going to be here. So now we've got a lot. So what do we do there? So we know all of a sudden we need a new centre back. We need a centre midfield player. We need a centre forward. It's difficult. Every week that goes by, your job gets worse.
Of course.
If Dom would have gone, we'd be sat here. We'd have Minter from Newcastle. He'd have been in
because that would have happened.
One winger sorted, so we're just left with one winger to get. we'd have had a centre forward. Might have been, people mightn't have liked it, but it probably would have been Breuer. But he'd have been in.
Sure.
Everton's, new striker in. Yep. And we'd have still had a pot of money.
Yeah, sure.
Because if we amortise stuff, and that could be for the midfield player, and all of a sudden, Dyche is sat in the middle of July going, well, we're all right. From now, there's only question mark over Onana and Branthwaite.
Yeah.
And we're going to battle to keep, so it's only Onana, and I'm not that bothered about him because I've already identified this player over there who's going to come in the minute he goes out.
Sure.
And I've already got Decore, and I've got Irabunen, and I've got Garner, and I've got Adrissa. So I've already got 4 who can play there, but we're going to bring another one in. So I'm covered, and then it's just piecing it then, and you can piece that over the next few weeks. Where we are right now, we haven't got a pot of money for cash down. They're after the right winger who they want, and that's going on in the background.
Yeah.
Hopefully that comes off, but they still want another one. But you're still having to wait for this money to come because Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going, I don't know. And as Gavin's just said, 150 grand a week for a player who averages 7 goals a season.
Well, yeah, but it's not just about goals, is it? But again, go and watch BWB whenever it's out, guys. And we were talking about, increasing income from the new stadium, which obviously could turn into players in the future, right? And one of the things I said is the first thing is to increase the wallet share that you get from fans. So get fans to spend more.
Yeah.
And then I said, get fans to spend more. And once you've got them spending more, get them to spend it sooner. The same applies here, right? We've spent a period of time not being great at player trading because of restrictions or whatever, right? So now we look like we're doing stuff a bit better, right? We know what we want and who we're prepared to keep, and we're making pragmatic decisions because we can't have our cake and eat it and all that sort of stuff. So once you effectively have a good window in outcome terms, next time you want the same outcome, i.e. a good outcome, sooner. So allowing the DCL thing to fester is a challenge to our process. So you say, what we need to do is get to a point where the DCL decision, and let's call it by DCL, is made sooner than if we just stand around watching it happen. Okay? So one of the ways you could do that is by stimulating him with an increased offer for a new contract, right? So you reckon he's perhaps earning around 100 grand a week now, right? And he wants 150. Any ideas what we might have offered him, or do we just offer him the same terms on it?
I think we'll have increased it. But
okay, moderately.
I don't know. Maybe we've offered them 120 grand a week. Okay. I don't know.
So there's a gap.
Don't quote me on it. I have no idea.
This is just for scenario again, right? Yeah. So he's sitting there thinking, perhaps I've got 120, right? And I want 150. And if I go to Everton in the 3rd week in August, like, hey lads, I'll take the 120. What will they do? Right? Now we need to know the answer to that question right now. Hence, and you've talked about it often, about you draw a line in the sand. On that date, if you're still here and you have not signed that contract, you become a person we know isn't going to be committed to this football club, right? But what happens if he's the 120, 150? You go, offer him another 15, 135, halfway house. And if he says no to that, you've at least brought the decision point forward, haven't you? Because what the agent will be wanting right now, or maybe is behaving like right now, is we've got a bird in the hand called 120 a week. Dom, you don't have to take Newcastle's 130 because we've got 120 and the 10 grand is neither here nor there to you for going if it's not a sporting decision. And you just need to move the decision to the left. So it's interesting.
But the big thing in this as well, though, is
lose on it.
we're trying to drag that wage bill right down.
Of course.
And everyone at Everton, you should only be paid over 100 grand a week when you're a guaranteed performer. I haven't no issue with Jordan Pickford earning over 100 grand a week at Everton, being Everton's biggest paid player, because he's in the main.
Consistent.
He's consistent, isn't he? In general, he makes the odd mistake. We know that, but all goalies do. But in general, you know what you're getting out of him. And it's just that
easiest position.
It
is the easiest position in the team to be consistent in, isn't it?
No, but it's just that. I think only Raya got more clean sheets than him.
No, I understand.
Right, so he's had a really good season. He's in a European Championship final on Sunday night. He's the best England goalie ever, statistically, apparently. So there we go. So we know that him. Other players,
in the Euros,
other players aren't as consistent as Jordan Pickford in Everton's team, bar James Tarkowski.
Sure.
Branthwaite's had a really good
season. The most important player for Everton in the team.
Who is?
Do you think he's the most important
Pickford?
player?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. He's probably the most consistent. Is he the most important? I always think people who win your games by scoring goals, because if Pickford keeps Pickford keeps a clean sheet, you don't lose. But
you get a point.
You don't necessarily win, do you?
Yeah, that's right.
Where I think players at the top end become more important. I think Tarkowski is equally as important. He's been excellent since Everton got him.
So is Branthwaite.
Branthwaite's had a really good season. Really good season.
I think Tarkowski's gone under the radar though.
He has. Even though
it's a Branthwaite's output, Tarkowski.
Even though them two, the top two English defenders, statistically,
neither of them got to go to the Euros.
Neither of them are in the England squad,
which is crazy.
But anyway, that's a different argument.
It's history now, that bit.
What I'm trying to say is that, so we have to drag that wage bill right down. I like Dom. I would rather Dominic Calvert-Lewin stayed, right? But I also know that Everton could get a striker on half of what we would give him, who would get more goals than him, because he doesn't score goals. That's just a fact.
That's fine then.
That's a fact.
So what
they're doing, that's what I'm saying. But if he come out today and went, I'll sign, I'm staying. I'm convinced now. The takeover's gonna go. We're going in the direction I want them to go in, because they're my club. Now I've been here 8 years. It's my club, and I want us go into the new stadium, but I want us to be on the up. And I'm convinced now, these new owners, that Sean's talked to me, Kevin Thelwell's talked to me, I want to stay. I'd be like, sound, one less headache to worry about. Got our striker. Then it becomes, like, what do we do with Betto? Is there a better number 2 striker we can get? Or can we piece the other bit? I've no issue with that. None at all. Where I have the issue with is the uncertainty. And I know that Everton can't do that much about the uncertainty. If they had the pot of money, they can try and force it. What I mean is, if they had the pot of money right now, they could make it even worse, couldn't they? Because they could go and...
For him, you mean?
Yeah.
By buying his replacement.
Kareem Konate, if you're watching Kev Thelwell, we're going to go and buy you from Salzburg.
Yeah.
We've brought him in. Boom, he's in and he's in the mix.
You're not going to play, Dom.
And Dom, you're now number
2. 2 will matter. Anything other than
you're below Betto. You're below Betto now, because Betto's committed. He signed a long deal.
Sure.
He's in every day training, bang, 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 and he wants to stay. Dom, you're number 3. Smitty, we can loan you now and give you that experience, because our idea is you are one of our long-term strikers.
Sure.
We want to make sure you get games every week, blah, 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 blah. And that gives Dom a problem then.
Of course it does.
Because all of a sudden he's 2 or 3, like you just said. And the 4th one, the club have already told him he's going to be number 1. Now, it doesn't matter if Konate's not ready to come in and be the number 1, but you've just paid €20 million for a striker.
So how long does your 120k offer stay on the table for?
I'll be honest, mate. I'd have taken it 4 weeks after offering me. I don't believe...
That's what I mean. For me, it's in the past.
Yeah, a footballer. I understand I understand Dom's perspective.
I don't have an issue
I don't
have an issue with his behaviour.
I think he thinks he isn't connected to Everton Football Club as much as he should be, in my opinion. And it's the fans have caused that. And you heard it in his interview about goal of the season. And he still had a little dig that he still haven't got a song for me. He still had a little dig. Now, if you're fully ingrained in a club and you love it, don't you? And he had a little go. Not all fans, of course, because it isn't like that. Evertonians, a lot of Evertonians love him. But if he doesn't feel that, do you think Richarlison would say he's got a connection with Evertonians?
Yes.
Yeah, still.
I think he would.
He's still posting videos about him scoring goals for Everton, even though he plays for Tottenham. But I imagine Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if he went to Newcastle, they would love him, Newcastle, because he's number 9. And within a few months, they'd have a song and he'd feel like he was there. Now, there's a bit on both sides. He could do more. Evertonians might say, we always back him. But I'm just saying, when I look at it, I was really... When he done the interview I just thought, he's referenced that again.
You should go.
The no song thing.
Sorry.
So I'm looking at, from him, but he might go, I've given this club 8 years. And all right, I've had a couple of injuries, but I played 35 games last year. I've given him...
paid lots of money as well.
Yeah, but it's a footballer. They all get paid lots of money.
It works both ways.
Andre Gomez got... Cenk Tosun got paid a lot of money. He hardly played. He'll say, I would imagine he would go, I'm 28. 27, 28, whatever he is.
Probably 27 when the discussions.
So Everton aren't going anywhere fast. We just had 3 relegation battles. We're not going anywhere fast. Is this club buying players who are going to make me better? And I've got less than a year left on my contract. So I've got no issue with him thinking, I want to go and play somewhere else and try.
No issue at all.
Try something. And his wife, to be, apparently is an international model. So she might be thinking Milan or so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somewhere like that. She might not have fancied Newcastle, by the way. I don't know. But I understand his side of it as well. But I'm looking from my football club side and going, for us to be able to go where we want, and we need the dice to roll in our favour, to give the manager the best he can get, as in the best plan, and to go, here's all your stuff, Sean. It's on you now, mate. We've done this. And I think they've tried to do that. They brought players in already, really good. The negotiating now for others, great. But I do think we do have a big issue with the striker position, because Betto, people are even saying in the comments, get rid of Betto, sell him, and it's like, he's our number.
Listen,
it's easier said than done.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All these things are easier said than done.
There's no bid for Dom, is there, at the moment? So,
it's not.
It's like a West Ham player.
It's not Football Manager where you just reload the last backup and have another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sadly,
but in the real world of negotiations, we talk about it on here. Plan the dive the plan, right? So, if he doesn't want to be here. And frankly, any footballer of his stature who's talking about, I haven't got a song, I've been here all this time, doing my hard. You've been getting paid very good money, young man, and you spent a fair amount of time being injured, and we looked after you, and we did it sympathetically, and so on and so forth. We don't have an issue with you looking after number one. Guess what? We have to look after number one as well. We've concluded you don't want to be here. You've refused our best and final offer. Therefore, you're on the transfer list. He probably isn't, is he? Have we circulated to everybody's for sale? I don't know whether we have or we haven't. So stop pampering to a player who you believe doesn't want to be here.
He might not be pampering, but
and being provocative, right? Yeah. And to a plan, put him on the transfer list at a modest transfer fee. It's like putting your house up for sale to sell. Not less than X. Doesn't mean you're not going to get more, but not less than X, right? And let's see who comes for you, right? And if no one comes, even at a modest thing, then you're going to run your contract down to 0.
Yeah.
And they're not going to come for you then, are they? If there are clubs out there, mate, who only want you when you're free, they're just the opportunists who pick up free transfers, aren't they? Right? And maybe you're the next Ross Barkley where suddenly your stock goes up incredibly well but remember what Ross did? He probably dropped 150 grand a week to go to Luton, and play in the Premier League. Are you going to do that? You talk about it being your career, mate. Do you really mean your career, or do you just want a bigger bank, a bank balance, right? But once we've moved on, he's got the problem then, not us. Right now, it appears that we think we've got a problem because he's going to run us down to
planning,
0.
I think.
Of course it is, yeah.
That's all.
So you have to, we talk on this channel about effective communication and being decisive in decision making. If we've made the decision already on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which is sign a contract by this date or you're for sale and you're going on the transfer list, and if you're still here at the end of August, you're not playing because you're not committed. So you've then got a week in September to sign a new contract, because we're not dribbling, is that the right word? To August, when you think, because your agent's told you, cash it, take your paycheck, Dom, that you're currently on, because you'll be much more attractive come January. We're not having that, and be bold.
Kevin, this is literally what it's supposed to be about, discussion points.
Well, what's up?
You're sounding like our women at the shop, boys, without being privy to any negotiations. Or who says we haven't got any inside information, by the way? Just because we don't drop it all over the internet.
Hey?
But the point of the whole show is to get talking points with you there and to discuss them. If you don't like it, mate, I'm sure there's lots of other things you can watch and listen to, but that's literally what the point of it is that we have
done DCL today.
Not you, Kevin Murphy. No, but because I'm going through the Echo. I was just looking at the Echoes thing, because they're going down the players.
Not read it.
Dom, is an issue. Holgate, Mason Holgate being told,
Michael Keane.
Michael Keane. You can go through them. Neil Maupay, these are all players.
These are all things Kev's trying to move out, aren't they? Yeah.
One that's interesting is Nathan Patterson, that the Echo have got in as a player that can go this summer.
Again,
now I don't know whether that's
a decision.
Yeah, I don't know whether.
Well, if Nathan goes,
he's got 3 years left on the deal. I still think he hasn't been given an opportunity.
No, I don't think he's been given a real opportunity.
But what do we do with him?
He has attributes which the manager hasn't played to.
And pre-season's his opportunity.
It's a difficult one because, as our man over there just said, he's back to Scotland, isn't it? Or out. He's not going to. Can't see him getting somewhere in the Premier League other than us because of his lack of opportunity, and he's not going to want to drop to the Championship, is he? But the Scots know he can do it. So maybe he goes back from whence he came, and that was his little English excursion over.
Not sure. It is.
With the age profile and the attributes he's got, physicality, pace,
size of him,
yeah. That's got to be worth persisting with, isn't it? But he doesn't want to be second choice, does he?
He's about fourth choice at the end of the season.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Because I just don't think he's been given a chance.
No,
I'd like him to play 15. He's got to be fit. He's had injuries as well. Yeah. But I'd like him to be given at least 10 games on the run where he knows he's in every week, and then he has to step up and we see whether he sinks or swims. If he can't do it, then at least you go, well, the manager's given 10 games on the run. You can't give him 2 and then take him out for 8, then put him in for 1 and take him out for 5.
Would you ever consider playing James Garner right back if you're Sean Dyche?
He's a midfielder though, and again you just shoehorn him, and he can do it. He's played the odd game there for us. He's fine. He's played there for the 21s, England under 21s when he won the Euros. But he's a midfielder, and it just means you're going, you're not good enough to play midfield where you want to, but you can play right back for us. We've got Coleman, Young, Patterson already. Who are all there. You know what I mean?
Worked all right for Ian Snowden, didn't it?
No, it did, but it was an injury.
Yeah.
Which why? Don't forget he went centre back first.
True.
And then he snapped his hamstring. Oh, sorry, he went right back first.
Yeah.
He was in midfield, he got put to right back.
That's right.
Got injured at right back, ended up at centre back because there was less run.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying he couldn't, because he probably can play there, and he's done all right there, but I just think if it was me, I'd be going, I'm a centre midfield player, why am I getting shoehorned in it right? Are you not saying I'm not good enough to play there?
He'd be an emergency fullback.
Yeah, he can go and do the job. And it's good. I think it's good having players who can do that. Dwight McNeil can play left back, really.
That's right, yeah.
I actually think Dwight McNeil would be a really good wing back. Played in the middle away at Fulham, played quite well as well as an 8. But that was where he started. He was an 8, but he's just not quick. So it is thingy one. But there is others who can go and do it. Phil Neville, as someone pointed out.
Someone just said Garner was in the team of the tournament in the Euros.
Yeah, he was. He was at under 21s. He was.
Yeah.
But he did come out and say, I'm a midfield player and that's where I want to play. Just Carsley put him right back. But he did play really well. He's a good player. But I don't know. The manager's never put him there and stuck to it. So I don't think the manager thinks he can play there.
If he was in the team of the tournament, then you're getting a good performance out of him, sure.
Yeah.
He's a player that's consistent.
If you got Everton got another 2 midfield players and then you look at them and getting in there, mate, then maybe he would go to right back.
He really ever has a bad game when I've ever seen him.
Well, he's just very neat and tidy.
He's consistent.
You know what I mean? So
within his limitations, which don't include pace. So again, fullbacks in the modern game should have pace.
Yeah.
We've got a fullback with pace called Patterson, right?
There's loads, isn't there? There's loads of variables, and there will be, and obviously we've got the takeover going on in the background, which we'll probably be in that quiet period just right now where we're all hoping to hear news from it. But
so Echo have just done their squad review, have they?
No, what they've done is 8 players who leave this summer.
Okay, got it.
Nathan Patterson's in it, and obviously Amadou Onana's in it.
Sure.
There. But the others, Dom's the interesting one because he's only got 11 months left on a contract. So that's why he plays in our team. If it was Betto, and you were sort of like, well, he's sub anyway.
Yeah.
It'd be less demand, and you'd be going, well, if we sell him the last week in August, it doesn't really matter because
he's not playing anyway.
We're trying to bring a number 2 striker in, and we've got Chimiti and we've got Ndai, who can also.
He's part of the span, and you've got to find someone else.
He's the starting number 9, and when you're starting number 9, hasn't committed and hasn't signed the contract, and his contract's running down, that's a worry.
But that's his biggest bargaining chip, and also his greatest sweetness, Dom.
The
value you are to Everton is that you're a starter, And if you won't commit and they make the hard decision not to play you, you're not a starter, are you? Yeah. So it'd be interesting to know how much headroom we have to try and do what you implied before, which is to get his replacement regardless of whether he starts the season or not, because you may actually make that business decision that you'll let him go on the last day for next to nothing if you have to.
Well, a couple of people are saying get Konate, who I mentioned, Adebayo, who obviously is just that double figures.
You like him, don't you?
Well, what he is he's just very similar to Dom. He's not. He's better on the floor than Dom. Dom's better in the air than him, but he's useful enough in the air.
More
but he's powerful and strong. And if you're talking about knocking it up to someone who's going to keep it and let everyone join in, he's the one you get. Yeah. Don't know what. Listen, Luton might go, we want 40 million for him, and then you walk away. You go, no, thank you. 27 in January. But if it was 10 to 15 million, and you were sort of getting that for Dom, but his wages are way less, then he just got more than Dom did last season. Now, will he do that again next season? I don't know. But he's just done it in the last season.
It's a Harrison opportunity.
And you look through. So you go.
If he doesn't want to play in the Championship and you think you're coming back, give us on loan for a year then.
But you could have him, and you do swap, wouldn't you? Yeah. You'd say, well, you can take Timothy in the Championship. Yeah. It's great for us because he's playing at a good club. He'll get a year in the Championship. He'll get goals. You'll have to toughen up. It's a deal that you could do. You could get Adebayo, and you could go and get. I mentioned Konate.
Adebayo would be a good sign.
He would.
Yeah, he was powerful, and you could get Konate. You know, someone mentioned Kevin Denke, I mentioned the other day. He's another one. He's a gamble, but 23, scored a lot of goals in Belgium. A lot of goals. He's powerful, quick.
I think he'd bring excitement though towards the new season. I think
that's it. Strikers do. But again, just to caveat it all, if Dom comes out today and Everton announce he signed a new 3-year deal, I'll go sound. Right now,
absolutely.
Do we look at what do we do with Betto? Is he staying?
Put around
Great, because we there's other areas which I think Everton needs to strengthen. But I just, for me, the worry is he's the starting number 9 and we can't get a decision out of him.
Yeah.
And that is where that's where I am with it. Listen, it'll run and run. It'll run and run. That's what we're here for, to have discussions about it.
Has to be to move that decision point to the left.
Closer, yeah. Listen, Kevin Thelwell, I'm sure, and Sean Dykes are on it. And I've had that conversation with them, and they know where. And to be honest, they're the only two that matter.
And you know what? As a fan base, and it's not going to be easy for us because we all have our own individual and personal views. Whatever they conclude, let's just assume they're doing what they think is best for the club.
Well, yeah,
and stand behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want things done, don't you? But it's one of them, isn't it? John says Dom can sit on his contract and get a significant signing on. His career's stalled, sign on fees. Career's stalled, and England looks a step too far. He'll easily get a club next season.
Not if he hasn't played.
Nah, I don't. I get it. I get the points, but I don't know. I'm not convinced with that at all. He might get a club. Yeah, you're right. He might get Bournemouth or Ipswich next summer. Josh took some time away from tuning in. Life got busy, but happy to be back on here in the Toffee TV team. Can't wait for all the great coverage on everything Everton. Looking forward to a fresh season after the last 3 scares. Hopefully we can put that behind us this year and get on to better things. Up the Toffees, up the Toffee TV. Get those likes up, subscribe. Price of a coffee for all this content. Josh, thank you very much. Right, we'll be on More Than a Game in 5 minutes. Come over there and we'll be chatting about England because they're playing a final on Sunday night.
Oh, I'll be.
We'll be previewing that and all the other stories doing the rounds in as far as transfers are concerned.
Good.
Including Manchester United chasing 3 centre-backs. Is Branthwaite one of them? You'll have to find out. In 5 minutes, you don't have to go anywhere either. Ned's done the magical superhighway link. Just get yourself a drink and we'll magically appear in 5 minutes. See you in a bit. When Callum takes us off.